Hey guys, welcome back to Bow Freaks Outdoors. Hey, it's Daryl. We're sitting in here in the production office and doing some video work. I'd like to give you a little heads up. The video that you're going to see today is from David Vestal with Habitat Taxidermy. He does some great work, guys. Some of the best taxidermy stuff you'll see. Got a lot of awards and a lot of pieces out there that are not something you see on a normal wall. I'm telling you, this guy here, check him out on Facebook. You're going to be amazed at what this guy does. But in this video, David's going to show you basically step by step on how to properly cape a deer to take to your taxidermist. It's a step by step. He pretty much does it himself. You guys check it out. Bow Freaks Outdoors. We'll be right back to you.
Hey guys, I got David Vestal here from Habitat Taxidermy. He's coming out to help me cape it out, and he's gonna shoulder mount it for me. You want to tell him where you can be found at?
The main thing that 95% of people, when they make a mistake on caping their own deer out, is everybody knows you need a lot of extra skin in the back. But most mistakes occur in the brisket, front leg, shoulder area. I'll get people that cut it back here, almost have the tail attached, and then they'll come through and cut right through here. Most of your modern shoulder forms have a little bit of front leg and a little bit of shoulder and some brisket. That's just a nice, really neat hair pattern on a white-tailed deer that looks nice. If you do make a mistake, there's a few different options. We can choose an older form that's a little bit shallower, doesn't have as much brisket. I can repair it, but if it's missing, sometimes I'll have to sew. You know, if all of this is gone because you've cut through here, and I have to sew this hair pattern to this, that kind of looks bad on me, and I don't like to put things out that are, you know, looks like I don't know where things go. So, some taxidermists will make you purchase a new cape if you make a mistake. I'm trying to work with people, and I want to use their cape if at all possible. But the simplest way to do it is always stay right where the brown meets the white. If you follow that line back, you can't hardly go wrong. You can cut through the joint and completely tube this all the way out and make no incisions whatsoever. That's a really good option if you're pretty good with a knife and you're worried about making a bad cut. If there's no cut at all, then you can't make a wrong cut. But I guess I could do one of each. It's definitely easier to make an incision. You don't have to go all the way down to the knee, but a good halfway point between the knee and the shoulder is a good place to start. So this one's got a few flies. We had a nice cool morning. Got it cooled down good, but this afternoon got a little
cool.
Yeah, he's in good shape. Just the flies have gotten to it. So.
Isn't that crazy? Down below freezing, October 16th.
Yeah.
Usually we don't even get lucky like that in the middle of November.
So what I'm going to do first is just ring all the way around the shank. Try not to cut through the hair, get hair on your meat. Then I'm going to stay right where the brown meets the white. Follow that all the way up. And again, you don't need half the body for just a standard shoulder mount, but a good hand width past the back of the shoulders, you're going to be pretty good. So do that. I'm just going to tube this one out. That'll take quite a bit longer. I used to tube them out just so there's no incision, but as long as you stay, it's real easy to follow. Right where that brown meets the white, just go all the way up through that and go past through. Now don't make a turn and go through the armpit area. Deer doesn't have an armpit, but for lack of better words.
Yeah. When I skin a deer, I do that.
Tube them out.
Well, no, I turn right there, like you said, at the armpit.
Yeah.
Do you not do that when you skin work?
It just depends. cut mine up in the field so often anymore. I don't even bring them out of the timber hardly.
Really?
Another tip: a lot of people, if you'll push with the side of your blade, that will get, instead of coming in here straight, if you'll push with the side of the blade, that leaves so much more of that flesh on there. You get such a nice product. I would rather have a bunch of extra flesh on the skin than a bunch of holes to have to repair. So don't worry about leaving stuff on there.
I got you.
The more you leave on there, it is a little bit more work for me, but it's less work than having to sew a bunch of holes. So then just go all the way around. Like I said, a good hand width, a little more than a hand width. Don't get into your back straps. And if you decide someday down the road you might want to change your mind and do a wall pedestal, you still got plenty of the shoulder to do a different option on forms. Obviously I can cut it and throw it away if I don't need it, but if I don't have it, yeah, he's got a pretty good scar there.
Yeah. I don't think it's a mullet. It looks too bad.
Probably a fence or something. Fence post or something.
Yeah.
This one's pretty tight. Sometimes you can do more pulling than cutting. This one's gotta make it earn it. I'm leaving a little extra flesh on here. I usually don't like to do that.
Main thing is not putting holes in it.
Yeah.
And of course that broadhead just barely poked out right there.
The holes are what I like to say cuts. Cuts are something where you can just mend the two pieces back together. A hole is where something's missing. Like if you have a hole here because you've cut all this skin off, then we have an issue. But if it's just a cut, I can mend that back together. It's not a big deal. Since you're filming this, I'll probably cut a big hole.
Yeah. One rope that I got it pulleyed on, I put a safety rope on it in case it broke because it's weathered, and
Yeah.
so it breaks, it shouldn't go too far.
One area to be kind of slow down is this skin right in here is extremely thin skin. So you're gonna get a little carried away. That's probably where you're gonna put a cut or a hole.
So essentially you're kind of tubing it down through the neck.
Yeah, then just once you get the legs incision and then around the shank and then around the mid body, I don't split them all the way down the back. My incision is a short Y from each antler burr. It comes together right here, and then about that. That's the only incision I put on a whitetail. In my opinion, there is no reason to make a full incision on something you've got access to hang it up or to work on it. If it's an elk and you're on the side of the mountain, or like I just did a bighorn sheep in Colorado 3 weeks ago, obviously you're going to have to do a full incision on something like that just because you don't have access to move it around as much. But sewing does not improve taxidermy, so there's no reason to do any more of it than you have to. The main difference is the antlers. Obviously I've got to get those antlers, the skin on there, and then get the antlers on. If you you have a full incision, you can set your antlers and then wrap your cape and sew it all the way up. What I do is I preset my antlers in Bondo. I pop them off where there's like a key system where they can only go back an exact way. Put the cape on, and I've just got a little small incision to sew up. When you change, when you cut this all the way down, you completely change that geometry. Instead of a tapered tube, now you got a big flat piece, and it's to me a lot more work to get things back where they belong. So I don't like full seams. I'm not going to charge extra if somebody brings me a full seam whitetail. I might tell them the first time that I prefer not to do that. Some meat lockers, processing plants, still do it that way. I don't understand, but some people are just kind of set in their ways. So this brisket skin is really, really thin, and it's kind of sometimes pretty fleshy, kind of hard to see exactly what you're doing. So take your time in here. Anytime you have a question of where something is, stick your finger up. Your brain won't, mine does every once in a while, but your brain won't hardly let you cut your own finger. So stick your finger up underneath there, that way you know exactly where you're at. So I cut myself about every day in the taxidermy shop. Usually pretty minor. I've got a bottle of peroxide waiting and band-aids on hand all the time. So. And I like to take it right to the atlas neck vertebrae junction, the back of the skull, and the first vertebrae is called the atlas. If you don't feel comfortable, the closer you get to the head, the tighter the skin is, because that's where all your swell is in your neck, and that's where it's hardest to skin. Obviously, it makes my job easier if you do that, but if you bring it to me with half the neck on there, that's pretty common. So, yeah, it just gets it gets tighter.
Right.
The closer you get, the tighter it gets.
That's where
Weird how it dulls your knife so bad right through here.
That's usually where I get impatient and
Yeah.
start.
Obviously, we prefer not to have any cuts in this area because that's the tightest. I take pride in giving customers back the full neck size of the deer. That's kind of one of the reasons I got into this. I had a guy I really liked. He did quality work, but it always seemed like in my mind the deer was bigger when I shot it than when I got it back. So
Really?
nobody's ever complained that the deer was bigger than they thought it was whenever they get it. So I'm not one of those guys that tries to swell them and make them look like they're on steroids or anything like that.
So how do you, I'm probably asking, how do you get the neck size to match the skin?
I measure the tanned cape.
Measure the tan cape.
I measure the tan cape. A lot of taxidermists want a little bit of neck left for measurements, and that is a terrible way to measure. The best analogy I can use, if I want to mount my bicep, I'm not going to cut my bicep right in the middle in half and then lay my arm here where all those muscles are laying completely flat and none of them are activated, and measure it and think it's going to measure the same as my arm when it's activated, holding my arm up, or like the deer holding his head up where all the muscles are being activated. So I measure the tan cape.
I never thought about all that.
I think it's the most accurate. I shave my skins very, very thin. I get a good stretch out of them. I get all of your neck back. Might even get a little extra if I get that way. But like I said, I don't try to make them look like they're on steroids or blow them up or anything like that.
I don't think he was maybe a little swole, but he wasn't.
It's still a little bit
swole,
early.
Yeah. I think he would have got a little bigger in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the next couple weeks they really bulk up. So
yeah.
they're out there, instead of making scent marking rubs, they really start
Yeah.
working over bigger trees and do more muscle development than you know. Earlier they're just trying to get their velvet off and scent mark trees. Now they're starting to bulk up every day quite a bit. You really see a transition.
Yeah.
And this is something I will do for customers. Like I say, it's something I don't mind to do if I've got the time, and especially the first couple times to show you. I can't do it if 20 people come all at once. I can't skin out 20 deer, you know,
Yeah.
on opening
Yeah, I
day of
think I
rifle
could-
season. So
I could do it now.
it's really not that difficult. This is where it's the hardest,
Yeah.
the tightest.
Just gotta take your time.
And if you can't get through that, then take your saw and cut this off. But it's just kind of tedious.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting the connective tissue and not the skin, because it's so tight. It's kind of right on top of each other. But I skin it all the way down. Wow. Neck and jaw, because I got to do this eventually, so I might as well do it now. You don't have to quite that far.
You hit the back of the ear there, right?
Yeah, that's your earbud right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, if you want to make your taxidermist happy, learn how to use a knife by pushing that blade kind of sideways. So you're not cutting holes and you're getting most of the flesh off. For me, take it all the way down to the back of the skull. That makes my job so much easier. You don't have to do that. I'm not going to charge you extra or shame you because you don't know how to use a knife or anything like that. And I'm not the best. I'm certainly not the best with a knife. I use one quite a bit. So.
Yeah, you're good. A lot better than I am.
And I'm going to take it at the joint. If you want to get a saw out and go ahead and cut it, that's up to you. That's fine. Usually I can go right through that joint. Today, since we're on film, I'll probably struggle and stab and poke and never find it.
Yeah, sometimes I get it real good, and then sometimes it's a battle. I was wondering if you had a trick.
Oh yeah. No, it's kind of muscle memory and remembering where it's at. But.
Yeah.
Hanging definitely helps. You can kind of use the weight of the head to help you. This is a good way to run a good knife. This is the way I do it.
Nice.
There you go.
Like I said, tell them David how to get a hold of you.
You can find me on my Facebook page, Habitat Taxidermy. You can call me. My number is 417-840-0058. If I'm in the middle of cutting one up or get a chance to sneak out, I may not answer, so you can leave me a message and call me back. But it's pretty basic. You know, this area right in here is where 95 out of 100 people make a mistake. The rest of it is pretty simple. Always good to have extra skin. If I don't need it, I can throw it away. But that's about all you need to know. And then get it in the freezer. If you can't get it to me immediately, get it cooled down, get it in the freezer. One thing I wanted to mention, Steve asked me about, since we do have warm temperatures here, about putting bags of ice in the cavity. Most taxidermists do not like it when you do that, because what happens is all that ice melts, and then you get like edema up underneath the skin. All that water's got to go somewhere. A lot of it does run out the windpipe, but it'll get inside your skin, and the whole head will swell up. And it's better if you can get it cut and cooled down, rather than hang it with the ice. If that's it just depends on every situation. It's a little different, but oftentimes I'll get one or two in a year that they did that, and the head's all just swollen, and it's just kind of a mess. But another thing is, you're not cooling the place that's the most heat is here between your hindquarters. You're not cooling that at all with ice in the cavity, really. But,
Yeah.
get the skin off is what cools animals down, because the skin is insulated and holds the heat in. So, but I think that's about all I need to know.
All right, thanks, David.
Yep. Glad to inform.
Okay guys, that's David's video on how to properly cape a deer for your taxidermist. Hope you like what you saw right there. And again, reach out to David if you need a good mount done. Check him out on Facebook. If you got any questions, give him a call. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Bow Freaks Outdoors, guys. We'll see you on the next one.